You know, what if an ancient prophecy laid out a puzzle so intricate that only one person in all of history could possibly solve it? We're talking about the claim to a throne, but this wasn't just about being the next in line. No, the heir had to meet this really unique set of dual requirements, a challenge that was literally centuries in the making. And that's really the question at the heart of all this, isn't it? How on earth could a single individual satisfy every single condition? It's like a riddle that combines biology and law, with two totally different paths leading to one throne. So, to even begin to crack this puzzle, we have to go back and look at the original blueprint. This entire story is built on a series of foundational promises, covenants, really, that laid out the exact specs for this future ruler. And the trail really kicks off right here, with Abraham. A promise was made that set the stage for one of his descendants, his seed, who would have this incredible global impact, bringing a blessing to all of humankind. Okay, so from there, the focus starts to narrow. It's not just any descendant of Abraham. The promise gets more specific, narrowing down to one particular tribe, Judah. This is what establishes the royal line. The scepter, a symbol of kingship, was going to belong to this family. All right, so we've narrowed it down to the tribe of Judah. But now it becomes even more precise, zeroing in on one of history's most famous kings, David. And this is where the most critical requirement of all is laid out. And this is a huge deal. God makes a direct promise to King David himself. His seed, his direct descendant, would inherit a kingdom and a throne that would last forever. This was, for all intents and purposes, an unbreakable royal charter. Okay, so let's just quickly recap the checklist. The blueprint demands an heir who ticks three absolutely essential boxes: a descendant of Abraham, from the tribe of Judah, and the direct heir to King David's throne. That is an incredibly specific set of qualifications. Now, this is how we can track it all. This chart, I know, it might look a little intense at first glance, but just think of it as our genealogical roadmap. We're going to use it to follow the threads of this story and see exactly how everything connects. But here's where the real twist in the puzzle shows up. See, it wasn't enough to just be a blood relative of David. To have a totally solid, undisputed claim, the heir also needed the legal right of inheritance, the one passed down through the actual line of kings. So, how do you get both? All right, let's tackle the first path needed to solve this. We're talking about the direct, natural bloodline, the physical descent. Okay, so if you follow along on our chart, we can trace a line from King David, but it's through his son Nathan, not Solomon, the one who became king. And that line goes all the way down generation after generation, landing on a woman named Mary. This is the biological connection. So this path right here confirms the physical descent. Through his mother Mary, Jesus was a literal blood relative, a son of David, and that fulfills the seed part of the promise. So check, that's one requirement down. But remember, that bloodline is only half the story. Now we've got to look at the legal side of things, which it turns out is just as crucial. So let's go back to our roadmap again and trace a completely different branch. This one starts with David's other son, Solomon, the king who actually inherited the throne, and it follows that royal line of kings all the way down to Joseph, who became Jesus's adoptive father. And honestly, this is the genius of it. In that culture, an adopted son had the very same legal rights and standing as a natural-born son. So as Joseph's legal heir, Jesus inherited Joseph's claim to David's throne. This gave him the undisputed legal right of kingship. So you see how the puzzle pieces just click into place? Through Mary, you have the direct blood descent, which comes from David's son Nathan. That fulfills the seed promise. And then through Joseph, you have the legal right to the throne, which comes from David's royal son Solomon. That secures the throne promise. Two totally distinct lines from two of David's sons, and both were absolutely essential. And this is where it all comes together in a way that is just completely unique in all of history. You have two distinct, totally valid paths to the same exact throne, and they converge on one single person. Let's just walk through that one more time. First, you have the ancient promises that laid out the whole blueprint. Second, you have the bloodline, the physical descent, established through his mother Mary. Third, you have the royal right, the legal claim, secured through his adoptive father Joseph. And fourth, the convergence, where Jesus alone stands at the meeting point of both of these vital paths. When you put it all together, he was the one person who could perfectly satisfy both requirements. He had David's blood literally running through his veins, and he held the legal title to David's crown. I mean, it was an airtight claim from every possible angle. And that brings us right back to the original announcement, doesn't it? That this heir would be given the throne of David, his father, and that of his kingdom there would be no end. Those two paths didn't just lead to a temporary claim. They fulfilled the prophecy of an eternal one. It's a fascinating puzzle solved across millennia. And it really leaves you with one final thought. What does it truly mean for a throne to be established forever?